How the human race began, how the human race being able to spread itself over the whole surface of the globe, how the human worships people. This whole little section, he talking about how he believed essentially what the book is saying up to this point. People came about and came down to the Garden of Eden, which is the North Pole, and spread out. You know what I'm saying? And spread out over the world. We are thus in the presence of a problem always coming up before us and always escaping us of the origins of the American man. Evidently, now remember this book was written in 1885. Keep that in mind because some of the present day ideologies of this everybody from Africa shit wasn't as strong then as it is now because this was during the time of their reconstruction as they was what I'm saying telling their little fake ass stories.
Peace. What it is? This book right here, going to the history of fakery and how certain people concocted a certain history to make themselves seem antiquital. That ain't a word. Anyway, I want to go straight to one point. Damn, I turned right to it. Check it out. Okay, this is what I read it for. Listen. As television presenter of Alex Haley's ludicrously anachronistic roots. There you have it. Some of it true, some of it fiction, but all of it true in the true meaning of the word. Y'all don't find it interesting that he goes straight to roots? This is the what? Forging the past. And he goes to roots. Look up that word, anachronistic. It means out of place. All right, this book go hard, soft hide. After mine, hold on, did their best. Ireland. All right, check it out. Faking in European Renaissance, 18th century. We talking 1700s. Okay, hold on. Faking of art of antiquities occurs only in cultures in which old objects and objects associated with the famous individual can command high prices. This is relatively unusual phenomenon. In most cultures and in most times, there has been no special premium in old things. Even the most venerated images have been repaired and replaced as necessary, while outstanding artistry and craftsmanship has been appreciated more for its own sake than for any glamour attached to the name of the person responsible for it. Faking is not, however, found only in modern Western culture. There is a strong demand for Greek sculptures of the Golden Age, in which Imperial Rome and some of the surviving Roman copies of such sculptures started as life as fakes, perhaps attributed to the great artists like whatever his name is. Others were simply admiring copies, and it was difficult and not impossible to know which are which. In China and Japan, as we have seen, the development of market of ancient bronze and jade paintings led to the manufacture of fakes. But indefinitely, the greatest explosion of collection mania occurred in Europe in the 19th century. Check it out. Hold on. The aim of this chapter is to look at the roots of that amazing outburst, or whether the material evidence for its origins provided by the survival of fakes in the three main areas: the cult of the artist, the desire to possess exemplary relics of ancient world both emerged in Renaissance and continue unabated thereafter. However, in the 18th century, new fascism arose for old things because they were old. I'm gonna tell you why. Not necessarily beautiful, not even necessarily connected with famous historical figures. They were to be acquired and cared for and lived with because they were from spoken past. Because Europeans have no history, so they created one. Yeah, so it's on me. Fake. I count three for the whole team. Fake. And now we at the top. And I ain't never coming down. Word. Fake. Fake. So when you see these European old Greek statues, fake. Fake. Oh, this is their favorite. Watch this. Hold on. 144. The something towery, blah, 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 blah. That's this right here. See, 144, 144. Interesting enough that it's 144, huh? Check it out. I was on to say. Jenkins assured Townsend that in the form of antiquity, Diabolicus, whatever, was compared to the famous version of the Messio family, which had been discovered 10 years before in an Anterium Caro Fee, whatever, has since identified as a copy of the famous statue of the Greek sculpture Myron. That's more, people. Myron, M-R-O-N is a suffix. Check it out. Although the head statue had been broken off, Jenkins claimed that it had been discovered lying beside the torso on the site. The head of your statue was not only found with it, but I believe you would see its price is the same, blah, blah, blah. There was never da. The face. It seems clear that the head was not original to the torso. So they changed the face. You get it? Because that face isn't in history. That's why, man. So they put that on the original body of Myron. Which Myron is more. Fake. Oh, I did. Hold on. This long period famous wild abuse of Julius Caesar. Fake. Probably made in Rome in the 1800s. Fake, nigga. No history. Hey, I cop 3s for the whole thing. Hold on, I ain't through. Hold on. The next chapter go in. The 19th century, the Great Eight. This is 1800s. Horace Walpole and his circles had discovered the romance of the past. Look up Horace Greeley. I believe that's the same person. I learned of this book from a brother named Hakeem Bey. He gave a lecture. It's called "What They Don't Teach You in History Class." Go watch that. Okay, ma'am. Anyway, post-classical European culture itself became exhausted. Scholars search for new areas of antiquity, coming value the relics of the Etruscans. You should know Etruscans is Moors, black folks, and Sumerians, Martins. Here we go. America was quarried for relics of the Aztec and the Mayan. Eventually, listen. Hold on. Sunshine. I can't tell a lie. Listen. Eventually, the material culture of every people on earth. That's what they're talking about. Cause see, early India, they're talking about Athens, Rome. America was them. Okay, every people from the Inuit, meaning Aboriginals who never left, to the Mority. I can't say it right. You get it? Because it's only one true people. It's the ones who never left, and it's the ones who traveled. All black folks. So this would be your Canaanite, and this would be your Hebrew. Okay? This would be your African, this would be your African American, if you will. So, begin to acquire its own following of scholars and dealers and collectors. Picture a young rich girl taking me serious. Fake. These days fake. These days 62. Got me ducking on them. Almost got my head. Look at that. All this shit fake. Y'all have no history. No offense. It's just facts. Okay? This is one of your people purporting live on this. I ain't write this goddamn book. Edited by Mark Jones. Fake. And let me show you how real this shit is. Watch this. I bought this book offline. Watch this. Look at the page number 25. Look at the next page, 75. I'm not making that shit up. Look, 23, 24, 25. Right? And look, I turn the page, 75. You see that? Alright, watch this. See, I ain't fucking yet. Look, 29. Look. 79. Look at that. 33. Well, 83. 37. 87. Look, they took out the first chapter of this book because they didn't want me to get it. Because I'd have gave it to y'all. And look what they going into. Hold on. I've been getting into my old coach. What is fake? Original Marian child? Hell no. Fake. See, that's the first thing they going in on. 7. I never sold crack when crack rapping was working. The Madonna. So well accepted art collected established masterpiece, blah blah blah. Fake. Fake. And look, they cut that out. Watch this. Bam, 79. I want you to know about that. So that's their history. European people. Peace.
Okay, evidently it cannot be resolved by invoking an accidental colonization of Asiatic wanderers or a shipwrecked company, but it was one in which we have to deal with primitive populations flowing as in Europe by successive waves and attesting the continuous presence of man, whose gradual development and extensions have followed in America the same course as the old continent. The hypothesis of immigration from Asia by way of the Andalusian Islands to Alaska might be acceptable did not the certainty of the presence of an indigenous American population in the Quandary Age reduce it to the proportions of a secondary fact. Okay, now watch this. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, so first understand the quandary. When it says quandary age, it's talking about what we today. Remember that book is the book is 115 years old, 130 years old, something like that. 1885. It says quandary age. Now they call it a period. You know, basically, what's important is the fact that it's referencing 12,000 years ago. Right? It's saying how it covers 2.6 million years. Present day, you see all that, but then it says it's broken up into two parts from 12,000 years ago to now, and then 12,000 years ago before that. The point of the book is we have artifacts from 12,000 years before. You see what I'm saying? So before this epoch, we existed in America. Okay, you'll see as I go on. You see what I'm saying? So the presence of people in that age shows that we were here before we could have possibly gotten over here by the way of the Bering Straits. All right, because the Bering Straits was covered in ice up until 12,000, but according to New, this route was not fully open to traffic until about 12,600 years ago. Right, but we had people over here before that. Okay, so you come down here, sum it up. Nobody looked at us when the corridor became biologically viable. When could they have actually survived the long and difficult journey through it? Okay, when could the people have actually traveled through there? Right, it wasn't up until around 10,000, 11,000 years ago. But since prehistoric people with distinctive stone tools had already been colonized what will become the United States 13,000 years ago, they must have come by another route, perhaps along the shoreline, blah, 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 blah. Either way it go, there's no way that we came by the Bering Straits, the Asian people who came over through Alaska, blah, blah, blah. Because it was just covered up in ice. It was impossible. And they found people, bones, remnants of civilization older than that. So that's what this book is saying. This is in 1885. They knew that. So why they didn't tell us that shit in school? They taught us Bering Straits. See? So here we go. The same isn't the case with relation. Contradictory, it is true, and therefore suspicious, which have some attempted to establish between. And listen how he talking. You gotta listen to that double talk, bro. The same is the case with relations. Contradictory, it is true, and therefore suspicious, which some have attempted to establish between the monument statues and graphic signs of Central America with those of Egypt and Buddhist Asia. Okay, the monuments and statues that look the exact goddamn same. And I'm gonna show you that in 1 second.
100 Amazing Facts About the Negro by J.A. Rogers. I'm gonna go to 16. On the phone, right? I got no tripod and then. On the presence of the Negro in America before Columbus, C.C. Marquez says, the Negro type is seen in the most ancient Mexican sculptures. The Negroes figure frequently in the most remote traditions of some American pueblos. It is to this race doubtlessly belongs to the most ancient skeletons of very distant structure of two of the red American races which have been found in various places from Bolivia to Mexico. That place, that page, blah blah blah. See proof, da da da. Dixon emphasizes the fact that there was clearly an early Negro strain in the Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Central American Indians. Columbus says he wanted to find out what the Indians had told him that there had come to it from the South and Southeast Negro peoples. Peter Martyr, the Amuis of Columbus, I don't know, I probably said that word wrong, tells of Negroes living in Central America before the introduction of slavery and says these were the first Negroes seen in India. Professor Lee Weiner at Harvard University says the presence of Negroes with their trading masters before Columbus is proved by the representation of Negroes in American sculptures and design, by the occurrence of the Black Nation at Darien early in the 16th century, but more specifically by Columbus' empathetic reference to Negro traders from Ghana. The chief central influence was exerted by a Negro colony in Mexico. That was Montezuma. That's what they talking about right there. Colin A. Bragland says that he saw in Ecuador a statuette of a Negro that is at least 20,000 years old. He adds, hitherto the ethnologists imagined that Negroes appeared in the New World only during our epoch when they were imported as slaves. Some statues of Indian gods in Central America. Am I on that? Oh, my bad. I can't read from the phone. So it is what it is. Some statues of Indian monuments were undoubtedly represented as Negroes. So there you go. Completely contradictory to what the guy said in the other book, right? It is, he actually confirms it. He just put that down in your mind. That's what they do. It is indispensable that in very ancient times the Negro race occupied our territory, Mexico. When the two continents were joined, the race brought its own religions, cults, and ideals. The Mexicans recall a Negro god, whatever that says, which means blackface. Huh? Okay.
These analogies, aside from their insufficiency, must fall before two paramount contradictions. First, the certainty of the contemporaneous of the American man with the great animals of the Quandary age, right? We was older than and everything. The second, and this is why I read it, the relative uniformity of the copper colored races, so like itself through the whole extent of the continent.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
American, right? Native of the of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals, means first people, right? Or copper colored races, founded here by the Europeans, but now applies to the descendants of Europeans born in America, right? So I don't think we really understand the definition of copper colored, okay? So let's close that, moving out the way. Let's go here. All right, 1 second. Reject the source. English words. What was at the top there? Copper colored, right? 433. Interesting. 33. But anyway, let's go there. Show y'all what we talking about. Because I guess some people may say, well, the Native Americans are copper colored, right? Right. All right. Let's see. Look what copper colored is. 433. 433. Brown. Look at the skin tone. What's the skin tone right there? This pen is black. What's the skin tone? Brown. Is it not? All right, let's go. Brown. Adust. Day. Auburn. Now we know what Auburn is, right? Do we? Dark-skinned people. Chestnut. Nut brown. Cinnamon. Okay, fun, paste that. Tawny. Read all the books, it's gonna tell you. 20 people, black folks. Chocolate. These are synonyms for copper color. Maroon. Goddamn. Foxy. Tan. Look at this. Whitey brown. That's hilarious. Okay. Liver colored. Brown. As a berry. Mahogany. Reddish brown. Copper. Rust. Colored. Bronze. Khaki. Sunburnt. Sunburnt. Okay, this is copper colored people. These are the people that were founded here. What color is the skin? Is it not sunburnt? The relative uniformity of everything that we do, we all doing the same, just in a different place. It's the point. Goddamn, except in the part which is occupied by the Eskimos. There you go. The difficulty arises from the fact that monogenists having a view of a single birthplace, a single point of departure for the whole human race, and placing neither in the New World have supposed America to have been colonized by European or Asiatic immigrants, following the direction of the parallels of latitude. Immigration in this direction at once meets an obstacle in the oceans, which grow wider the farther south we go. The obstacle disappears if we give up the idea of lateral immigrations and suppose the movements have been taking place from the direction of the meridians from north to south. No obstacle of any kind offers itself to such migrations, and relative uniformity of Americas from one end of the continent to the other would never have existed. Astonishment if we had not been preoccupied with their introduction at a later date. So what he's saying is, if we analyze this from the concept of people coming from the North Pole and coming down into America, coming down into Asia, coming down into Africa, as opposed to looking at it like people were in Asia or were in Africa and then moved over to America. You understand what I'm saying? Then everything would make sense. But if we keep trying to force it where a lateral movement, you see what I'm saying? That's what they're saying, lateral immigrations. If we keep trying to force that into our thinking, it's never going to make sense to us because that's not how it worked. All right, so that's the point. That's once again, like I was saying, the point of this book. Extreme Southern points 3 consecutive races. Okay, and so he kind of going a little further into more shit, which I ain't gonna go there. But the point is, this book, and the point for you to get right there was the copper colored races. The copper colored races. You understand me? That's what we talking about here. And I showed y'all another video what copper color mean. Brown, sunburnt.